Let me explain logical function. In Excel, we have some few logical functions that we'll make use of. Some of them are AND, ifs, if error, not, or, true, false, and switch. So today I'll start with AND. AND return true if all of its arguments are true. When you want to use AND, it will return true if all of its arguments, the both sides, are true. Let's quickly look at it. So we have a student report. It shows the grade and the remarks, and the gender, the age, and the name. So let's quickly use AND. We want to know if some people passed or they failed. So how do you go about it? So let's start. So you write your equal to, you go to your formula bar, equal to AND, then you write your first logical argument. So by my first logical argument, I'll say AND D, that is D2, is greater than 50. Sorry, let me just write it here. AND D2 is greater than 50, comma, E, sorry, E2 equals passed. That is to say, if D2 is greater than 50, so return true if it is passed. You can see. So if you write here, you can see the both arguments are not true. That is to say, now the first argument that we have is if this argument is greater than 50, then it will be passed. So these are not true. That is, the two arguments are false, right? Now it return false. So if we draw it clearer, then we say you can see some argument comes true when we draw it. So this is if D3 is greater than 50, then E3 is equals to pass. That is to say, the two arguments are correlated. That is to say, the two arguments are of the same measure. They met the condition. You understand? So, according to what we say in our explanation, we said it returns true if all of its arguments are true. That is to say, the two arguments we are considering here are true. So let's continue by dragging it down. Then you will notice that we have false. That is to say, here the person scored 20, which is lesser than 50, and it is not passed, right? So even if I write passed here, it will still return false. That is to say, one of the arguments is met, but the other one is not met. That is to say, AND goes in line with two arguments meeting at the right point. That is to say, the two arguments are of the same measure. If one of the arguments is true and the other argument is false, then it will return false. If the two arguments are true, then it will return true.